So thanks everyone for joining. If you are still with us, we're really excited to introduce my really good friend. I've known her for about 15 years in Vegas, and we both ended up here in Hawaii. And anyways, she is going to be teaching us sustainability at home. So if you could introduce yourself and tell me more about your company and what you're doing right now.
My name is Gina Ballesteros, and I'm a sustainability teacher for elementary education here in Waikiki. And I also have a little side business called Eco Mindful Leipo'o, which I make natural flower crowns and leis for your neck, also leikui. And I live here in Waikiki, and I love it.
And how did you get into sustainability?
Sustainability has also always been something that I've loved. I love the earth. I love thinking about ways that we can renew the energy and renew ourselves. And everything was kind of coming full circle because I'm also trained as a marriage and family therapist. So being mindful about your relationship with everything just is very natural to think about your relationship with like your natural surroundings. So it was like the perfect marriage between what I was trained to do in mindfulness and in relationships with people, and bringing it together with just the natural environment and being more sustainable.
So like a lot of people are home right now during this quarantine, and I know we're coming out of it, but I feel like I've even seen like on Instagram and just social media that a lot of people are trying to learn how to be more sustainable. Are there like any tips you can give or anything you can share with someone that wants to get started, like me?
Anybody and everyone can be sustainable. Kids can be sustainable. The kids are so great. Bring them in with the 5 R's. That's what I teach in my class mainly, is the 5 R's. And they go in order of importance. So the first one is the most important, and the last one is the least important. And this is something that I learned while teaching the class, that I didn't know that there was an order. I've always heard of the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, but I didn't know that there was an order to that. So the first R that I teach my kids is about rethinking. So you change your thinking, you think about all the waste you're putting out into the world, all the plastic, all of the things. You start thinking in a different way about what you're consuming and where it comes from. So you start changing like the thought. Then the second R is you start refusing things that maybe you don't really need, that are wrapped in some type of packaging that is extra or creating more waste. Or maybe you can minimize clutter and things around your house. So you start refusing to bring home things. Then you reduce your use of materials that are not good for the earth, that you start recognizing, like plastic and maybe chemicals in the products that you use. So we got rethink, refuse, reduce. The next one is reuse. You start reusing everything, and this is like kids' favorite one, because you can reuse toilet paper rolls and cereal boxes and lids or plastic bottles to make projects. So you start reusing what actually you already have. So it's already there, you can't avoid it. Some things you can't avoid, like some plastic containers you can't avoid, but you can reuse them and make them into art. You can make them into something new. So they don't end up in the trash. And the last one is recycle. That is the last thing that we should all do. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in the 80s thinking recycle was the
first thing.
And it's like a mind game, because recycle is the very, very, very last thing we should be doing. We're actually starting to throw things away. Because in Hawaii, not very many things actually get recycled. And so it's really important to know what does. And I teach that to the kids. So in this container like this, that sour cream, I can't avoid buying sour cream in a plastic container. Only number 1s and 2s actually get recycled. And if you look at the bottom of this in the triangle, it's a number 5. So this doesn't even go in your recycle bin.
So what does the number stand for?
So it's where the plastic comes from and how it breaks down. So what can actually get recycled in Hawaii is number 1s and number 2s, which is even still questionable. It's mostly like glass and aluminum. So plastic, reducing your use of plastic is like the first thing I would have families do that are brand new to trying to be sustainable. because these number fives, they go straight to the landfill.
Okay, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never thought about like starting with your thoughts, right? It's just like the way you think about it.
Right, being more mindful about where is this coming from and actually where is it going? Like, how much waste am I creating? I'm just one person. Or if you're in a family of three like me, like, what are we actually using and what could we cut back on? So you start thinking about like, I don't really need this, Zippy's container, which is also a number five, or you can rethink like, oh, I had pickles in here, but this is a perfectly fine thing to reuse for flowers or something else. Like, you can reuse it. You just have to change your thoughts. Like, instead of like, oh, I'm throwing this in the recycle bin, I still drink out of this actually. And so, yeah. And then we can start like, purchasing reusable things too. Like, I know we buy kombucha and like things that come in glass containers like tea, and then buying things like this and just getting them refilled. So I've used this like 100 times already, where I would have bought 100 bottles of kombucha. Right. So you just start thinking differently about it and creating new habits, basically.
Yeah, I feel like we've done recycle and reuse. Like, that's probably the first two things, but definitely need to reprioritize how we think about sustainability.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and it's not about being perfect, it's about getting better.
Right.
Because there's still so many things I can improve. Like right now I'm at the level of thinking of like, how can I revamp like my products that I'm using, like my beauty products, my bath products, because a lot of those are in plastic wrapping too. So whatever level you're at least you're starting to rethink about it in some way, and small changes do make a big, big difference. So even if you're like, that's it, no more individual Windex bottles, I'm going to buy the big Windex thing and start refilling a glass container. That's something super small you can do that makes a really big difference.
I do that with shampoo,
so. Yeah, good.
Shampoo, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Are there any other like home projects that you could, I don't know, recommend? Like,
yeah, one of the first things that I started doing too is I started rethinking my paper waste and where trees are coming from. And so we all love paper towels and we clean our house with paper towels, but I started just making a little bin next to my sink and collecting like body towels that were old and just tearing them up. So now I use these to clean way more than the paper towels. I still use paper towels sometimes, but just creating a new little habit like that. Home projects that you can do. If you're in a home and you're buying a home, like I would choose to purchase products that would be redone in some way, maybe a vintage table, maybe, I know you can't see it, but the table that the laptop is on right now is like an old reclaimed door with old, legs on it. So things that have been revamped and are being recycled in some way rather than purchasing new.
Yeah.
In your home, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the questions we wanted to know is like, how does sustainability help our communities, and especially in Hawaii? Like, how does that?
Sustainability, it helps connect modern society to kind of like indigenous culture of the way that the Hawaiians once were, because the way that things were once done was the most sustainable way. There was very little waste. Everything was being used, and everything was used in a way that there was balance because it was restoring itself. So you're using it, but it's regrowing somehow or remaking itself into something new. So when we live in a modern time, we don't really have to think where most of our stuff comes from. We just buy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we use things one time and then we throw it away. Instead of doing that, we're starting to rethink like, what did, marrying basically old culture with new, so that the things that we're using daily can be stuff that's being sustained and regenerated, so we're not depleting our resources.
And you kind of do that with business, right?
Yeah, I try. Yes, I do. I try my best to do it with my business, and I'm happy to say that I am mostly a zero waste business. I don't create any waste. I reuse everything. Everything is a renewable thing. Like the base of the flower crowns that I make are made from the banana bark in my tree, which I have an example here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, banana is so sustainable. It grows like a weed. It grows in groves. Once you get one bunch of bananas, you have to cut the tree. So if you have to cut the tree, I use all the bark. I have so much bark. Can make hundreds of crowns from that. So basically, this is the base of the crown. I just tear it like this, and then I have the base of the crown. It's completely compostable. The only thing that I do purchase in the store that is raffia, which is a Tahitian grass. But everything I'm putting on top is plant material on top of plant material, and it all regrows and regenerates. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So how can, I guess, other people incorporate sustainability like you have, like in your business?
I think that the way that they can start thinking about the products that they use. Maybe they give cups for water, and instead they can use glass cups for water for their customers. Um, they can think about where the products that they use come from, and then where they end up. Are they landfill products? Are they, something that can be reused again? You can just start being more mindful about your waste as a business, and you can use eco-friendly products that don't harm the environment. If you're doing something outside, like that you're not pouring chemicals on top of the soil, things like that. Just being mindful of every step of what your business is participating in. And that's basically Aloha Aina, which
Yeah.
is everything around you, your clean air, the water quality, and the quality of the earth around you.
I know. So is that something like you through your class too, when you're doing like, I guess, yeah, you're creating those lip polos?
Yeah, so if I do a lay po'o workshop, and a lot of times I'm dealing with tourists that are visiting the island, I'm really trying to express that virtue and that value, that Hawaiian value of aloha aina, malama aina. Like, we take care of each other, we take care of everything around us, because in turn that's taking care of yourself and your home and everything. If I take care of you, I'm taking care of me. We're all connected.
I like that you're like teaching everyone how to be more mindful.
Yeah. Me too. Mindfulness, it can be infused into everything, and it helps every single relationship that you have. But your relationship with your dog, your relationship with your mom, your relationship with your houseplants, your relationship with how much output into the world you're putting, how much waste. If you think about it that way, it's really deep and impactful. Just being more mindful of what thoughts you have and what choices you're making in the moment.
Yeah, it helps you with like being grateful too, like,
Yeah, and being
you know,
grateful.
having a lot
Being
of,
grateful.
yeah. So do you have any other thoughts or anything you want to share while people are like, I guess, still kind of in quarantine, but we're mostly still at home. Um,
Yeah, people are hanging out at home thinking about what they can do with their family and their kids, because there's like no summer programs, and it's tough. So one of the things that I did was I went through my daughter's old clothes, and I usually do donate them, but the ones that were stained, that weren't in a good quality anymore, I cut them up and then I repurposed them by making fabric leipo'o.
yes, I love that.
So it's like old t-shirts and old jeans and just an old string. I don't even know. But it's so great because now it's hanging in her room forever, and I just repurposed that. And then I made a few like lace
So cute.
out of fabric, and it's super cute. It's like old pillowcases and things, like really random, cool colored that I had. So I just started cutting it up and repurposing it that way. This is one of our major quarantine projects, and I think that's basically it. Going through the yard and really figuring out what I could use in Leipo'o has been really fun.
And you do a lot of gardening and all that. I need to.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
with
like,
the school, teaching at the school, there's a food farm there. We grow a ton of food. We feed a lot of people in the community with the food, and it's a completely sustainable garden. So that's been interesting too. Just keeping my cutting board waste and composting it and feeding the garden with it is another way to see everything come full circle. Like, our waste isn't waste, it's nutrition.
right.
So unless it's plastic, then it's not nutrition.
So Gina, do you have any tips to share with us for the people that are home right now and just want to start a garden? Like, where do we start, or what can we do?
Yeah, you can start your garden at home. And if you're going to do so, you're going to do so mainly just know that you're doing so because it's a labor of love. You'll put a lot of work into it for sometimes not a lot of output, but it's totally possible to do potted plants, um, potted lettuce, herbs, all kinds of things like that. If you have property and you want to start tilling the land, you have to start noticing sun patterns and what kind of bugs are on your property, what kind of slug issues you might have. It's going to take a little bit of science, but it's totally doable if you want to start growing your own food. But one of really the most sustainable thing that anybody can do and economical, because starting your own garden is pretty expensive, is just supporting your local farmer. Why not pay the expert that has worked out all the kinks on how to grow like the perfect lychee, for example, and just support your local farmer. It's very sustainable. The food doesn't have to travel very far to get to your plate, and that cuts back on food miles. And hopefully you're supporting organic too, so that cuts back on chemicals being used in the land.
Yeah. So you're just saying like support like local, like that's pretty much the best way we can be sustainable at.
It's definitely another way to be sustainable and have a sustainable practice is to support local all around. Anything that you're consuming, anything that you're wearing, products that you're using, definitely food that you're consuming. If it's local, everything local is better. And in Hawaii, we're so blessed that so many things can be grown here, and a lot of great artisans here, and people doing all kinds of awesome things with renewable materials.
Okay. Thanks, Gina.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to come over to my house.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, thanks, Gina, for sharing with us about how to be more sustainable at home and just how to live a more sustainable lifestyle. I feel like that the thing for me that I took away the most is like the rethinking and rejecting the 5 R's and how to renew my mind to think differently about sustainability. I think it like sets in motion like my actions, right?
Right, and then you can put them in order because being sustainable sometimes is overwhelming if you've never thought about it before. If you've always grabbed a plastic water bottle and drank it, you're not going to ever stop to think like, maybe I have different choices here. I can bring a reusable water bottle. Like, you have to create the pause to stop and then make different choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all happening up here first. That's where sustainability starts.
Yeah, so it's like that renewing just our minds to think like that. And then I love how you're reusing everything in your business and doing projects at home. Do you have some like photos of like what you've done with your business?
I do. I have a few, and I do Leipo'o workshops. I'll show you the latest one that I did, which was really fun. And then I'll show you an example of like what I would call a luxe lei.
Okay.
I'll show you the table setting. So here's some girls at the table setting. I kind of go to the beach. Oh, can you see it? No, you can't because I scrolled up. Is it
a little bit. Okay, we can see a little bit of it. Yeah.
So we sit at the beach. Yeah, we sit at the beach at a big table. I bring all the flowers and all the materials. I talk to you about the art of Leipo'o making in a sustainable way. We do a little mindfulness meditation. We get like in the flow state of your brain, and then together we are wrapping flowers until the end. All the girls have a beautiful crown, and then we take pictures, and we have a lot of fun. I'll show you a picture of all of us with the water splashing behind us. These are some girls, so fun. And it's right there at the ocean. I don't know if you can see it. You were having
a good time. Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, those beautiful.
I also make Leipo'os for people to purchase too. If they're doing a photo shoot and they don't want to make their own, yeah, then I can make it for you too. A bird just flew through my house. Hello. Oh my gosh. Bring the nature in. Bring all the nature in.
It feels you're like, bye.
Oh, I love that. It's like a jungle in here. Yeah. That's Hawaii for you.
Yes.
Oh my
okay,
goodness.
so you do like Leipo'o workshops and teaching people mindfulness, and people can order Leipo'o from you.
Yes, they can DM me on Instagram. I'm in the process of getting my website done, And then I have been making leis almost every day for maternity photo shoots, family reunions, bridal showers, you name it. And know that when you purchase a lei po'o from me, I am keeping the aloha spirit, and I also am making sure that my mind is clear and I'm in a happy space while I'm making the lei, because the energy is infused into the lei. Gets, you're wearing that on your head, it's infused into your body. So I really try to uphold all the aloha through the whole entire process. And I teach you at the end that you don't throw your lei po'o in the trash. You lay it in a special place to you on the earth, so it will decompose naturally.
Like on the ground or in the ocean? Or...
Yeah, in a tree. If you have a special place, so some people left it at graves of loved ones or in the ocean in memory of someone. However you like to do it, because the earth will accept it back and break it down.
I love that. Okay. Thank you, Gina.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to contact you right now?
Right now, the best way is to follow me on Instagram at Eco Mindful Lei Po'o. I think it'll be connected into here, right? With my underscores. Okay, yeah. For now, until I get my website up. So you can send me a message on there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Gina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.